Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Learning and Development Podcast sponsored by Infopro Learning. As always, I'm your host, Nolan Hout. Joining me today, we have a super special guest. Not that he's, I guess, more special than anybody else, but today's guest came in very high demand from our audience who wanted more information on the specific tools that are really dominating the AI and learning and development landscape. So nobody better than our guest today, Dominik Kovacs, to help fill that void. Dominik is a founder and CEO of a tool called Colossyan, and we'll let Dominik get into himself, but a little bit on the tool of Colossyan. If you haven't heard of it or seen of it, it's an AI-powered tool that really transforms the way that businesses are engaging with their employees by turning text into dynamic and interactive videos. What I love the most about this tool is you don't need a production environment. Like you don't need expensive cameras, studios, or in my opinion, I don't think you need like a highly trained, media producer to create some really fascinating videos. I've used this tool a lot. It's really breathtaking. The spelling is Colossyan. So that's Colossyan. Today, we're not just going to be talking about the tool, though. We'll learn a little bit more about how AI itself has changed over the past couple of years, which is really important. And we'll see how organizations are leveraging some of those new things that have come about. And I'm now becoming overly aware of how long this intro is. So let's go ahead and meet our guest and start the podcast. Dominik, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much, Nolan. It's a pleasure to be here. And as you said, I had the pleasure to also meet a few of Infopro's community members and audience members. And I'm pleased to basically tell you more about AI video and our field.
Lovely. Before we do that, Dominik, can you start by just telling us a little bit more about yourself? Like, how did you get to founding Colossyan? Where were you before then? Was this always a fascination of yours? Tell me a little bit about your origin story.
Absolutely. I was always fascinated by the fields of AI, green energy, and space technology. I thought either of these fields would have a significant impact on our society. And originally, I went into a different direction, but I ended up doing mathematics and machine learning, thus AI research. Already in 2018, I was working with algorithms that we call today generative AI. And that allowed me to basically see the true impact of this technology, where it was heading. Back then, no one really cared about it other than the ones who were actually working with the technology. It looked so terrible back then, all the visual outputs. So you can imagine, like early days of AI.
Yeah.
But this part of AI actually. But it was so clear, and I was always fascinated by movies. I'm a huge fan. I grew up on like watching classic movies like the Godfather, Star Wars, etc.
Yeah.
Like, you can consider those classic maybe by today, but overall speaking, I was really fascinated by the visual stuff. So when it comes to the technology and the visuals, it was pretty obvious that you would work towards this field. And originally, we founded a company which was focused on the cybersecurity aspects of this whole thing. We were trying to build, we tried to build a solution to kind of build a detection platform to help media agencies fight visual fake news. We could not monetize it at all, and from that company's ashes, which failed by 2020, Colossyan was born with a mission to make knowledge transfer easy. So coming from a pure technical background, this was the obvious path.
It's interesting. You mentioned kind of the film component of it, because so one of the gentlemen that I really follow is Christopher Nolan, and a lot of these other artists now are directors. They're kind of moving away from that realm, right? They kind of want more things to be practical effects and digital. So it's interesting how, there's almost that like adherence. I don't want to adhere to the norms. I don't want to use those. So it's fascinating to see how in the cinematic world, they're kind of merging those two. But it makes sense that you come from a kind of, that's an early passion of yours, because when I do use the tool Colossyan, I do feel like it's creating movies, like it will, not just like little clips, but it's like a movie production. So I can definitely see that kind of enthusiasm in the tool. What made you Oh, good.
Just wanted to add that, what's fascinating here eventually is the fact that now you can use AI not only to create these visual outputs, these videos, but also to guide people who have no background, who have no understanding how to create a great cinematic experience. That is the roadmap that we are working on. Those are the functionalities that we are onto. I myself, like, I have no clue how to create a visually appealing video. I've worked with Matt in my entire life so far, and I don't have a sort of a creative mindset, but we can now leverage AI and utilize it to basically provide a right-hand assistant to all professionals, to have a Christopher Nolan guiding them to create a
Yeah.
great visual experience. So that's the goal we want to achieve here.
Yeah, and you've done it definitely. I mean, I love the simplicity. That's why I like the tool we're on. You know, shout out to Riverside. That's my podcast tool. I think it makes it simple for people that don't really have an eye for those things. So let's get into it, Dominik. I mean, again, I gave a short intro of Colossyan, but why don't you give a short kind of intro of, you know, what is the tool Colossyan doing and how does it help L&D professionals in their job?
So basically, as I said, we built our company based on making knowledge transfer easy. So what we do is we repurpose existing materials, whether that's a PowerPoint, PDF, or simply a Word document, to highly engaging videos. So you can upload these materials and fairly quickly create even an interactive video where you can click on different buttons and the avatar, who is a realistic presenter, will talk to you and will respond based on different outcomes. So far, this process was done either via quite expensive production steps and recording people using actors, or via the combination of different tools that you use to create the video, tools that you use to make it interactive, and we basically combine it under one umbrella. And we want to help companies and professionals to save time, save third-party production costs, and also to localize their content much more effectively. Localization is also a focus that we are on, which means that you can create videos in 10, 20 different languages simultaneously.
Wow.
So all of these are highly beneficial, and the unique value proposition we have is the time to value. So the fact that you can very quickly repurpose your content into video, and the recyclability of the video, which means even if you create a video now, you can update it 4 months from now.
Yeah.
And they're just much more powerful than just creating an asset that ages, and you have to kind of it gets outdated eventually, right?
Yeah, and I think that's and thanks for providing that use case. I think that last point is the one that I tend to focus on when I'm talking to groups and stuff. And I'm like, listen, if video in particular is one area that you're interested in, just you know the cost of editing a video, even the voiceover work for the video is just astronomical, and being able to do two of those within the same tool is tremendous. So I would assume that AI is leveraged pretty heavily in the video and in the content ingestion piece of that. How though has that really changed over the years? And since you're very connected into the tech in the AI space, what are the advancements that you've seen, particularly in AI, over the past, let's say, couple of years since you started creating the tool? And then, as a follow-up, how has that then led you to rethink or maybe just redevelop some features within the tool?
So the primary example I want to mention is this predictability or predictive engine. So what I mean by that is AI changed fundamentally over the last months or years, right? And it allowed us to not just create the video, but also to oversee the creation process, to offer recommendations during the creation process. And we are utilizing the contextual awareness of AI to assist our creators. It's really important to highlight. I think so few companies do this well, and we want to build a company that does it exceptionally well. And of course, everything related to our AI technology. Everything is getting more realistic that AI creates in the content realm. Same for our avatars and general video quality. So that's advancing every month, almost every week, as you can imagine. So it's really hard to keep up with it.
Yeah. And what are things that, like, I would assume the big part of having a tool that's in this space is also kind of deciding what not to go down, like what rabbit hole not to chase or what develop. How do you kind of make those choices of what do I want in the tool versus what am I going to kind of avoid for now?
So it's really hard. I would say we do heavy user research and we talk with
Mm.
our most engaged audience and customers, and we decide based on that, like what problems they are facing, what technological evolutions and solutions we can imagine to solve those problems. And also we use our internal expertise, given that we have an internal AI research team with mathematicians, AI researchers, like where the field is going, what we are predicting in terms of timelines. Should we build something or should we get it off the shelf as a piece of technology, which could be ready 6 months from now? Of course, there are inherent risks, but our customers also want solutions ASAP most of the time. So that's a fine balance to nail, which you can learn, where you can learn from your mistakes most of the time.
So what are the you mentioned that you speak with a lot of your power users, and then I'm sure other users as well. What are is the top, I don't know, 4 or 5 use cases for the L&D world who is like, oh, maybe I could use Colossyan. What are you seeing as those primary, like, okay, in our tool, people are using these 3, 4 things like 90% of the time, and that's where most of our usage comes. Like, what are they building with these tools?
It's typically onboarding videos,
Mm,
compliance training, cybersecurity training, how-to
mm.
videos, how to use the software. So we are being used instead of tools like Loom because of our screen recording functionalities.
Oh,
And also sales enablement is very typical, product marketing, and nowadays customer education too. So all of these are like categories of training videos, if you think about it, and also internal communications.
yeah.
So these are the most typical use cases.
And you mentioned that, and I forgot how you phrased it, but one of the unique value propositions was the ROI, I believe, is there something along the ROI. What are people? Have you been able to do some ROI studies of, okay, I used to be spending X on this, now I'm spending Y.
Yes, exactly. So we normally correlate that with typical past production cost. That's not relevant for all companies, but is
Right.
relevant for most companies. So that's like quite quite important to flag. But also time savings, and time savings are associated to what else the given individual in the company can work on,
Mm,
why they can save time on this whole content creation process and also content ideation process. So both of those are like ROI pillars, and we educate our customers and we want to ensure that we meet those success metrics. But what we see is normally the ROI is visible only after a month's usage in an annual period. It's like most video creation budgets and also translation primarily just
right.
so expensive in comparison to AI tools like ours.
Yeah, I mean, Infopro learning, a big part of what we do is translation work. No, I shouldn't say a big part, but like that's a part of a lot of our projects. Since we're working with large global clients, the need is always there. How do you, translate this and localize this? And having tools, like Colossyan, have really made our job much faster. And we've turned those cost savings back to the customer as well, because I think at the end of the day, that's the expectation, is that if you're producing these tools, you should be able to do so better, faster, less expensive. And an example that I kind of tell people, and you mentioned getting the ROI back within 1 month. Um, I absolutely see that. I feel like it's almost back within like one asset. Like if you if you were to create one asset through your internal network or go to an agency and have them do it, I feel like the cost there is going to come close to pay for itself. You just look at any of these videos you mentioned, a talking head video, just getting somebody mic'd up or getting them comfortable to talk. I feel like a lot of times, I was just at a conference in Tulsa, and I was giving a demo actually of Colossyan, oddly enough, and the lady raises her hand and says, "Wait a minute, so I can get my CEO. I can just upload pictures of my CEO and some voice recordings, and I can use our CEO in training videos without him." Yeah, she's like, "Oh my gosh." She's like, my execs, they all want to be on video. They want it. But then when it comes to actually creating the asset, it's hard. They can't find the time. We can't get a studio out there. So I think the cost saving is absolutely there. But then also for a lot of people, I'm sure just the headache, the lack of a headache of having to set up a production environment must be huge for a lot of your clients. Speaking of that, like the setup, how hard is the tool? I mean, you're the CEO, so I'm sure you're going to say the tool is super simple and blah, blah, blah. But like realistically, somebody buys Colossyan. When do you see them starting to create things?
That's a great question. So we basically wanted to build it in a way that anyone who can use a PowerPoint can find the tool even more simple than a PowerPoint, because I struggle sometimes using a PowerPoint because I don't have the creative energy, I don't have the creative mindset. So we wanted to really hold their hand. And I believe we achieved it because we see so many individuals who have never created anything beyond basically Word documents. So we are becoming the sort of Microsoft Word, but for video creation for all these companies. And that was the goal eventually. I'm not stating that you can create an amazing looking video within your first week, but it's the learning curve is incredibly fast. And we aim to ensure that by the end of the first month, it's clearly there and you're producing high quality assets.
Yeah, I was talking, Dominic, to Anil, and I think who's the COO, I believe, or
Our
chief of
VP of
staff,
operations,
VP of
yes.
operations. Yeah, and he was telling me that I felt, and maybe this was outdated information, but I think he had said that like every new employee at Colossyan has to send a video of themselves, like of the using the tool within the first like week or something like that as part of the onboarding. And to me, I thought, wow, that really speaks to how easy this tool must be. Because of course, you're hiring all kinds of people. You're not hiring video people. You're hiring coders, mathematicians like yourself, marketing, operations, sales. So I thought, if nothing else, that speaks to the ease of use because nobody would force that upon themselves, those headaches, right? Of like, yeah.
Well, it's quite funny because on the second day, our design team oversees all new hires, new joiners, and
Okay.
they have a 1 hour block session where they have to create videos, or maybe it's 90 minutes even. And there's one designer in the room, and the designer is observing how they are creating videos. That's an amazing opportunity for us because it's sort of a free user testing
Yeah.
opportunity. Because mostly, like all the new hires have not used Colossyan so much, so they have questions which sometimes people feel like they are, stupid questions, but those are the highest value questions ever, because if someone asks like, why is this button there, or where can I find this opportunity, those are like, then we know like, is it actually easy enough, is it actually um, obvious for the first time people are using it, right? So we really have to embed this into our own culture and processes, that people are using the solution, and also we learn from people who are using it for the first time, and we observe them as well, and we take the learnings.
Yeah, so there you go. Within the first 2 days, they have all these new onboarders. So I think that's a great litmus test of the tool. One of the things that gets asked every presentation on AI is security. How do you ensure that, because you mentioned, or I had said in the intro, and which I think is, to me, I don't know how it gets done, but converting, Word docs, PDFs into these videos. I'm obviously taking my content and putting it in there. And as I leverage it more, with, like you mentioned, product training videos, things like that, I'm putting more and more of my IP into this tool. How do you ensure that people's data is protected?
So basically, we have various security processes, and we use security vendors as well, who are doing it much better than we would.
Right.
And we are SOC 2 Type 2 compliance, so all the enterprise security security investments are there. So the combination of AI AI verifications and content checks, and the enterprise-grade security provide a smooth experience from that point for all companies who we serve, including the largest pharmaceuticals or financial service companies in the world.
Right. So these are already clients of yours using the tool who obviously have very rigorous security checks. I don't know how long it took you to get in there, but
An
but
eternity.
an eternity. Yeah, so that's good to know that yes, if you, and so for those of you that are listening, can assure you, and I know they have all that published, but for us that don't even want to dig into the details, sometimes it's nice to just say, hey, if it's good enough for them, it's probably good enough for me. Dominik, before we let you go, I just want to get a sense for you. What do you think is on the horizon? Let's start with just in the field of AI. We were here today. Today, for those listeners, it's May 27th, 2025. What is coming up? What do you project, for the rest of this year, and then maybe 2, 3 years down the road? How is AI going to be applied to change our world?
I really find this question tricky because I don't think I ever nailed this because everything is happening so much faster than I predict.
Yeah.
Uh, so maybe I should just divide my predictions by a certain amount or something. But overall, I believe what we should talk about is quality, not just speed.
Hmm.
Everyone's talking about speed and effect and basically the speed of delivery when it comes to AI solutions. I would like to see how AI helps us deliver higher quality with higher amounts of speed. And that's what we are doing eventually and what AI enables us to do. So how can we create higher performing content, much, much faster, of course, but that overperforms the engagement rate, the quality perception of a traditional video, a traditional content piece. That's kind of our focus, and we enable that through interactivity. So AI allows us now to create interactive video experiences, which took months before, and now it takes hours eventually using our solution. And that really basically lifts up the engagement level or the quality perception in comparison to more traditional content. So the way I think AI is going to help in the coming months and the coming year is this predictive modeling that I mentioned before. So also holding your hand and ensuring that you can focus on basically in the creation process what truly matters and providing the context to like an editing engine like ours and allowing you to allowing the system to kind of guide you towards a higher quality output. So we not only want to ensure that we have functionalities that allow you to create higher quality, but we want our system to guide you. Think of Meyer's multimedia principles or the EDI model, which are highly relevant for content creation. I think most practitioners still struggle to remember each little learning
Yeah.
from it. Right? All of them are just so valuable. I think AI is a perfect companion, a perfect partner to help us. We want to embed it into our systems. So I think a more reactive experiences are coming, and also more reactive. The user experience is going to be shaken fundamentally for end users. Like it's going to be quicker, but also higher qualities. That's my prediction. And this is a step-by-step process, and I think we are going to see this, afterwards how LLMs change the field in 2022, 2023, and now software vendors are really understanding, and also companies, how one can really utilize it to provide value. So that's sort of my prediction in summary.
Yeah, so it sounds like your take on it is, well, expanding a little bit more, but is, and I feel this way as well, that AI in the race to do the first to do something, people just did things. And you had people with 13 heads and 15 fingers. And so like it was all fast, 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 like fast, but the focus wasn't quality. But now the focus is, okay, we understand what you can do, but it doesn't, unless it's accurate, it doesn't work. So I agree. I do think, quality is becoming the star of the show, especially with, ChatGPT 4 and using Gemini has been able to produce a lot of, pretty deep fake videos with speaking avatars. And then as it moves forward, as you mentioned, this idea of, and I think tool providers like Colossyan are recognizing, but I'm like, if my tool is only as good as the person using the tool, that's actually a limiting feature of my tool. I need to kind of help this user understand the best way to use me and the best way to generate whatever they're trying to do, right? Like old days of, Clippy of Microsoft. I see you're trying to write a resume. Let me offer some help. I see you're creating a training program, but I didn't see you put business outcomes. And if you don't help me understand what are the outcomes of this so that I can create a better training program. Absolutely agree. I think those are two things that not only AI will help, but I think we as individuals and as users start to, look for in those tools is not just how quickly can I churn video, but if I can get that video first time right or second time right or 15 minutes over whatever, all the better. Well, Dominik, thank you so much for investing your time with us this evening. I know it's late for you. I appreciate you investing that time and look forward to seeing what Colossyan comes out in the future.
Thank you so much, Nolan. Much appreciated, and looking forward to hearing the thoughts from the audience as well. Feel free to approach me on LinkedIn. I'm available, and I would love to initiate conversations, hear everyone's thoughts, and let's keep in touch.
Yeah, and not only is Dominik on LinkedIn, he's at every single L&D event you could think of. He or his team is. So go up to his booth if you're at an event or have one coming up. Go up to his booth, get a demo, get your hands on this tool. It's really phenomenal. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for listening in, and thanks, Dominik, again. Talk to you soon.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.